Jack X just posted a new player blog. Get reading, big man, says Jack X Goblin. With recent, new player improvements. With recent months seeing player number records broken week after week, it will come as no surprise that we're seeing a large cohort of players setting foot in Gillinor. If you want to skim, focus on the boxes with the lists in. This is a ton. Maybe we do that and then we just talk about it a little bit, right? A sizable chunk of players who start old school RuneScape for the first time never make it to the tutorial island or log off for the final time before completing a single quest. Players who complete a quest are 1.5 times more likely to stick around and become long-term members of the community. And players who complete a quest and gain a combat level are 2 times more likely to stick around and become long-term members of the community. That's actually quite interesting. I honestly, I was a bit surprised that the tutorial island is always mandatory, but I guess it makes sense for one, like with botting, I suppose, and also with just like, it's iconic. Yeah, it's an iconic thing, right? So the changes we're talking about in this blog are aimed to maintain the existing spirit of areas like Tutorial Island and Loombridge, but better inform players and set them up for long-term success in Gillinor. Before the alarm bells start ringing, we're not gonna redesign the tutorial or re-terraforming Loombridge. These areas are iconic and we have no interest in trying to totally reinvent the wheel. We're trying to fix a few spokes and improve the tires a tad. Before we start listing off changes, we know your stats are supposed to share some particularly eye-opening tidbits. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it relies on people getting to play, so that's the thing right there. New player improvements coming soon. Okay, actually quite interesting. Let's see. First things first, don't panic. Tutorial Island isn't going anywhere. We're not reinventing the tutorial or moving it to another location because we know the island is sacrosanct. Vanak says cooking your first shrimp and having newbie melody blast out of your family computer speaker last night. It's just important also that I told you. We've got a lot of data on Tutorial Island, which were used in conjunction with qualitative feedback from testers to identify the areas we could stand to be improved. Here are some highlights. The common drop-off points are the following. Any scenario where the player needs to speak to the same NPC again, most often the Gillinor guide, quest guide, and account guide. Wait, so if they gotta talk to him one more time? I guess it makes sense, because maybe you think you're done with the conversation and you don't realize that you gotta talk to him again. In one way, I see why people would like get confused by that, but on another way, it's kind of good that it's doing that, because it does that a lot in the game where the conversation ends and you gotta talk again, but maybe having it in the intro is bad, right? I've never spoken to anyone twice in my life. Oh, okay. Any scenario where players need to use items together in the inventory, namely lighting a fire or making bread dough. But that's such a big core of the game though. This is called natural selection. I kinda agree. Any scenario that involves specific click within parts of the UI. The 2 biggest examples here are equipping a sword and a shield via the equipped items interface. Something that no player is likely to do outside of Tutorial Island, and casting Windstrike on a chicken. Honestly, these things, now that I've played for a year, 300 days, it sounds silly, right? But this is really confusing as a new player. You know, some scenarios where players are expected to walk a longer distance or use a ladder, the ladder in the quest guide's building is a standout here. There's a lot of text in the UI, especially in the transparent control guide. Textbook gives some guidance within the local message box is specific. Additionally, the transparent text box is on a timer and eventually goes away and isn't consistently applied on a long island. Okay. Dialogue boxes combine bits of world building, NPC dialogue and gameplay instructions in a way that can overload players and make it harder to discern what's expected of players. Some key features like right-clicking objects are poorly explained or not explained at all. Actually, yeah, I don't think it is. I don't think it's ever really explained that, like, right-clicking is very important in this game. Because that's a really big problem I had when I played for the first week or two, is that I missed out on so many things because I didn't right-click stuff. And obviously, it is like an intuitive feature that, like, oh, well, of course you gotta right-click things, but that's because you know about it. Yeah. That's actually a really good point. Big Unagi, thanks for the prime. Default setting could be tidied up considerably. A visible roof stands out as one of the things that can impede a player's progress early on. Dude, roofs are so annoying to look at. They're pretty, but they're so annoying for the game. While it's true that some new starters are likely to log out regardless of any changes we make here, we still believe that there's a number of improvements we could to make better equipped for interacting with the sandbox that is Gilnor and start setting goals for themselves. Old school's click to interact with just about any approach isn't found in other games, meaning some people struggle with the lack of transferable skills from similar games. It's easy to jump from an FPS to another, but jumping from most MMOs to old school is a night and day. That's very true. Let's take a... You never right-click or examine in cutscenes. I never do that because I'm scared of the cutscene stopping. Let's take a look at some of the things we'd like to do and explain our reasoning as we go. It's important to us that we go on the same page, so we'd welcome your thoughts on these and invite you to give us feedback. Okay, that's actually quite interesting. Okay. Add clearer visual cues to the NPCs you need to interact with, including when you need to interact with the NPCs a second time. Currently, we're working towards a yellow outline similar to the blue outlining you'll see in the official client's glue scroll helper. So, I have a question, Mr. Goblin, if you're in the chat. Is this specifically just for the tutorial island, or is this a general quality of life that you're thinking about adding into it? Okay, Goblin says yes. So these changes are specifically just for tutorial island. So it's to give you an idea of like how things would work. Okay. Yeah, I quite like that, honestly, because if Tutorial Island is supposed to show people what they're supposed to be doing, that could be a good, like, indicator for it, right? In a similar vein, adding an outline highlight to the objects that players are expected to interact with. Example of this includes doors, gates, trees to chop, a fire to cook your shrimp on, the copper or tin ore for you to prospect. You get the picture. Basically, he says basically highlighting stuff to people to learn how to interact with the game, but not highlighting you're in Lumbridge, click this guy, grab these items, kill a goblin. I actually quite like that. I think for a tutorial island, that would actually be a good idea. Terrible idea, wouldn't people expect the same outline outside the tutorial island? Not necessarily, no. I wouldn't say so. I think if the point of the tutorial island is to like show people how to interact with things, I think making the interactions a lot easier on the island is very good, because there's probably a lot of people that are not inclined to continue playing if they just get stuck on the tutorial island. Because the game, if you are a new player in RuneScape, is very overwhelming and extremely confusing to begin with. Add some form of in-game highlighting system or UI components such as side stone buttons, spills, or inventory items. This should make it clearer to players that they're supposed to click on the items in their inventory, a specific tab, side stone, or the spill icon to finish the tutorial. Tyler McDonald says, I would rather see a change in the island than pre-game handholding. I agree. Add some for an in-game highlighting system, the UI components such as side stone buttons. Okay, so it's like a little bit of like a guide with like, okay, you gotta kind of go over here, click that there, and then put those together there. Good luck playing the game if you get stuck on Tutorial Island. It's like a mild form of Quest Helper for Tutorial Island, yeah. I don't really know what they mean with side stone button. I'm not fully sure what this really entails. The wording of this is a bit odd to me. An inventory button, like the prayer book. Ah, okay, inventory prayer book. Okay, so those, okay. Side stones are like the inventory buttons. Okay. Ah, okay, so like, let's say you go down, you cook a fish you gotta cook some shrimp, and then like, the side stone where you need to click to do that gets highlighted. So like, okay, go chop a tree. Then your inventory will be highlighted, and then the axe will be highlighted. So like, okay, go click your axe and then click on the tree. So it's essentially like a quest helper in a sense, right? Improve the control guide functionality and text. This is a slightly transparent box with orange text that provides some instructions for navigating Tutorial Island. Okay. Improve clarity of dialogue boxes, let them focus more on dialogue from NPCs, while the control guides handle the out-of-world stuff. Also minimize these when they are not actively in use. So just make the dialogue more, like, straightforward, I guess? Guzu would fuse the tutorial island because it's Quest Helper now? No, I wouldn't. If you read the instructions, yeah, it's the instructions of what to do things, right? These sort of outlining side-posting functionality is used in countless players for quests, minigames, and even clue scrolls, so we don't think it's likely to feel hand-holdly. It's true that once players get to the mainland, that won't have a bunch of highlighting telling them what they need to be doing. But the key aim here is to build better patterns so players understand that items can be used with each other. Objects in the world have different interactions when clicked, or even simple things like chatting to the same NPC, again, for more information once you're stuck on a quest. I think this would be good if they made it just like easy to understand that, okay, you do these things and it'll give you a reward, or like it'll give you a certain thing. I think that's good. Because honestly, I think if you can get people off the island and just get them into the game, it'll probably be a lot more, they'll be a lot more likely to stay. We'd also like to make some changes to flow or the things so you're focused on learning and interacting with the game rather than reading a load of text or log segments of NPCs talking to you about features that would be better explained elsewhere. Okay. So, make a dedicated light-weight UI for the question players are asked about the previous experience, since it's likely housed in a dialog box that I'll click rid of. Experienced players may have some different default settings more in line with what they're already used to. That's good. Make Tutorial Island a trackable quest mini-quest with its own quest journal entry. Wait, I actually think... Wait, that's actually kind of cool. You'll actually have something to look at when you meet the quest guide and something to refer back to if you get stuck of what you've already done. Questcapers, do not panic. You'll have this auto-completed. We can't have you going back to Tutorial Island. I actually really like. If there was some sort of a way to like make the Tutorial Island into like a series of mini quests that you could track using the quest guide, or like the quest helper, like, fuck, what is it called? Quest log. Because a big thing that got me really confused when I came to the mainland was like, how do I quest? What do I do? The activity advisor is fantastic, but if there's some sort of a way to introduce people to the mechanics that they're gonna get into later, that would be great. I think this would be really good. Yeah, this is really nice. Slightly speed up the woodcutting and fishing action speeds during the tutorial for players just starting out. Waiting 8 ticks to chop a log can lead them to questioning if they're doing something wrong. That's actually true. Once the initial understanding that the many actions are click and wait is reached, there's no need for the speed to increase. So we're not changing anything to the mainland. That's actually not a bad idea. ADH people can't wait 8 ticks. It's nothing about ADHD. It's about thinking like, oh, are you doing something wrong or something right? I could also see that like, oh well, just like be patient. But this to me is not like the biggest thing. I think the biggest thing that I really like is this one so far. That is really, really good. Replace the magic guides teleport with a home teleport step instead. Home teleport's incredibly useful early on and is easily missed by new players. Plus, it feels good to teleport yourself somewhere. Okay, so just showing you how to home teleport. Yeah, that's good. Wouldn't it be better to tell them that this takes a while? Yeah, you could, instead of doing this, they could also be like, maybe the NPC tells you, or maybe the quest tells you, like, oh, be patient when chopping, or I don't know. Either could work, right? But I think that's not a bad idea. Remove Brother's Brace introduction to the friends list. This interrupts the flow of the tutorial and stands out, and you can add friends into mainland. This confused me so fucking much. Yeah, when they started talking about like, oh, this is how you add people, and why? I just want to learn how to play the game. I don't want to like, yeah. Because like, if you have any friends or anything like that, then they'll tell you how to do that, right? And I think that's not a big, yeah. Any friends you're likely to add can talk you through it. Yeah, I don't think there's a reason to have this in the tutorial island, personally, but yeah. Default setting improvements. Okay, we're almost... this is actually quite interesting to talk about. Dedicated lightweight UI for the question players are in the experience. Yeah, these are good. High up on our list is improving the default settings for the new players in line with the modern standards. This first menu players open in the game, despite not knowing what half of it means, and requires a lot of tinkering and finding settings that most players will stumble across. Okay, we've made some changes here that can impact all new players, while some will depend on other players indicate that they're brand new. Okay. AFK's timer... Wait, so these are new defaults. AFK timer set to 25 minutes. Thank God, dude. I literally just realized now that you have to get rune light. Oh my God, that's good. Route items and overlay enabled. Move follower options lower on. Also, they just added all the quality of life things as a default. Auto-equip worn items from Gravestone on. Highlight agility obstacles on. Max hit splat threshold 2. Loot drop notifications on. Minimum value 20k. Untradeable loot notifications. Player attack options always right click. Attack where available. On. Hide roofs on by default? They actually put the music. You know what's crazy, man? Every single game I play, the first thing I do is I lower the music to 30% and turn off motion blur. I'm so surprised games don't do that by default. Maybe some of you guys will get more frustrated about this. I think this is pretty good. I quite like this because these are settings that are just good to have. Yeah, I like this. Every game should start at a lower volume and I will die on that hill. I agree.
Sup, guzu.
I think this is great, personally. Yeah. Default settings change for players who tell it that are new to the game. Accept 8 on, high scores on, highlight quest starting parts on, build to quest start hunting based on requirements on. Quest shows you the like requirements, show them unavailable. Okay, I like these. Default settings for players who tell that they're returning to the game. Accept 8, high scores minimap on. Okay. Had to increase the Expedition 33 volume on launch. What the fuck, Pilota? Okay, we'd love to hear what you think about these proposals. Our aim isn't to uproot the classic tutorial island, but instead make it clear to players how they interact with the game. And what it had to offer. Locking out and ultimately missing out on an MMO experience that's unlike anything else. Naturally, the new player experience doesn't end after Tutorial Island, but there's still a massive and overwhelming world waiting to be explored. I think it's really good that they're not trying to change Loombridge and the world after Tutorial Island, but I really do think all of these changes could actually make a lot of people stick to the game that were to quit. Right? Because the Tutorial Island isn't like... I don't know, it's not a part of the main game, but it's like what teaches you the game, and I think it's a good improvement on that. At least it looks like it. Improve the detail of the quest journal entries for older early game quests. While most players opt to use guides to complete these, we feel that the in-game guidance provided could be clearer in a lot of places. Similarly, make some dialogue more clear about what's expected from players from early game quests. We'll take quick care to ensure one of the old school dialogue is preserved while improving players' understanding of the core mechanics they're expected to interact with, talking to NPCs, using items. The kind of quest we're looking at things are like the cook's assistant, the sheep shearer, Romeo and Juliet, and the rest just goes. The kind of quest that would be very well be the first thing the players does. Okay, so they're gonna change some of the dialogue, perhaps. Obviously, we're gonna have to do a vote on this. I think more so than the quests being unclear. I think so. I think it's more so like you need to kind of like understand what's even happening in the game, right? But yeah. This could not be bad though. I mean, depends on how it's worded. As long as they stay true to what it is, right? I wouldn't want the quest to be changed at all. I don't think they should do that, but because like a lot of the things that makes these early quests very iconic, I think, is that they're so silly and so they really introduce you to the feel of the game, right? And I like that, so it wouldn't want to like mess too much with it and change how they are. Add lightweight, beginner-friendly getting started sections to the game. Skill guides assessed by clicking an icon on the skills tab. This could be okay. This could be okay. Read it again. Wait, did I misunderstand how it was typed? We'll take great care and ensure that the tone of dialogue is preserved and improve players' understanding of the core mechanics. The kind of quests we're looking at are things like the Restless Ghost. Man Season is really struggling on some quests, totally blind in the game journal, and quest is pretty much useless. Sometimes the game journal, like the quest journal, can be so vague in what to do. But yeah. But I don't think they should... It's quest journal entries, not really dialogue itself. Oh, okay, so it's the actual when you open up your quest and you read... the cook has asked you to go collect some milk from an egg and milk and get some flour. So it's that part. If that is a little bit better explained than some of those early quests, I think that could be good, especially if it ties together with the fact that they're like getting people used to using the quest log in the tutorial island. This could actually work pretty well, yeah. The section details much we'll consider further in the future, we'd like to implement, but we want to manage expectations. If something here really stands out, you think could be great for players, let us know and help us prioritize. Okay. Don't panic, much like Tutorial Island, we know that Loombridge is really equally a sacred place and we're not gonna terraform it. Construct a bunch of new buildings and fill it with a bunch of NPCs that you've never seen before. In truth, the game's starting areas are full of NPCs who provide useful information, and we do give players a lot of steer gardens, by tracking them down at your own can be tricky. We'd like to explore some lightweight changes, additions to leverage the locations, quests, and NPCs that we've already got, so players can select the I'm a brand new player option at Tutorial Island and receive some kind of direction to get them going. Our aims here is to make changes that aren't invasive for experienced players, that stay true both visually and tonally to the rest of OSRS, and focus on players building up confidence with the game's core progression system, so that they can make their own decision without feeling overwhelmed or second-guessing themselves. Honestly, this could be really good, because a lot of the problems in getting into RuneScape is getting started, and once you are on the trail, like once you're on the train tracks, you're vibing. But you just gotta get the train going. And I think what they want to do here is just give you a little push in the direction so you can actually start playing the game. Something important for us to know is we have bigger and more long-term work to improve the first-time experience throughout 2026. But our focus between now and the end of the year will be on short-term technical fixes, like you've seen with the Tutorial Island, while we work through fleshing out the more grandiose stuff. We'll avoid getting into details on our thoughts here because those bigger beats need fleshing out. Okay. With all that in mind, here's a top-level overview of those similar tactical changes that we're considering. Okay, let's see. Better direct new players to the activity advisor. Yes! I think even just that would do so much. Just let people know that that thing exists. Because this thing, for me, made it so much easier to play. I obviously, after like a week or two, I stopped using it, or a little bit more actually, but it was so good. Consider some gentle guidance towards some early game staples like Cook's Assistant, Sheep Shearer, and Rune Mysteries, or Romeo and Juliet. We could archive this via lightweight UI elements like an overlay dialogue or overhead messages with citizens throughout Loombridge, or through a quest breadcrumb approach that kicks off with some sort of greeter NPC. This could actually be a good way of doing it. Yeah, some sort of like a very lightweight thing that just says like, oh, maybe you should go see the cook in Loombridge, or oh, I heard that their Romeo is having some issue. Something like that, just to guide you in a direction where like you can play the game, but not where like it's a quest helper, right? It really compartmentalizes the early game without handholding. I think that popping Lumby with a bunch of tutorial NPCs concentrated the new stuff also preserves the old. It's just a very slippery slope because you don't want it to be too much where like it becomes, oh, now you just go do this, right? But yeah. Declutter the world map for new players around Loombridge. We could do this by progressively revealing more icons as new players progress, adding beginner filter to the map that turns off after a short time. Maybe. I mean, maybe. On arrival on the mainland, get players to chat to a greeter NPC, the Loombridge guide, for some initial direction or to set the stage for players knowing what they could do. I don't remember this actually, chat. When you go to the mainland, is there any person that like talks to you and tells you what to do, or is it just you just spawn and then you go around? No, because honestly, if the Loombridge guide would just like have an instant dialogue, would be quite good. But maybe that would be too much of a change as well. Maybe that would be kind of too much. Or maybe the Loombridge guide is just next to you and then he says like a dialogue like, hey, come talk to me, or whatever, right? Instead of it being forced, because if it's forced, then it's bad, maybe. Yeah. How dare they make the game less confusing? I had to struggle, so everybody should too. I think that's a bad take, because why would you not want to make the game more accessible to people to try to get into it? Not that it should be handholdly. I really don't think that it should be, but I think a lot of these things could work well if done good, right? But they obviously shouldn't change any of this stuff without like talking to you guys, the community, about it, right? Yeah. Find ways to adjust or rework adventure paths to reduce the lack of clarity after they're completed. Many new players find the system useful, but feel the tasks laid before them don't tie in with the wider game very well, leading to a lack of clarity about what to do afterwards. Adventure paths. I don't think I ever used this. But then again, I'm streaming, so it's a bit different. Yeah. That's not for Iron Man? Okay, so I can't really talk about this. Okay. Improve the quest journal. Display requirements with skill icons and clear formatting. Ooh! That'll be kind of nice, actually. Display rewards from various quests. Ooh. I kind of like not knowing, personally. If they do this, it should be an opt-in. Yes. Yes. That should not be default, for sure. Because I like not knowing. Imagine reading. Well, listen, I was getting to the point, guys. Improving filtering to allow recommended section of the quest tab, using similar data to the activity advisor to make recommendations based on the player progression. Yes! This would be great, because it is quite random, the activity advisor. Additionally, explore filtering by skill rewards, whether or not combat is a core part of the quest and how many quest points are rewarded. This could be pretty good, yeah. This includes things like explaining why a quest is recommended and showing how far off the requirements you are. Yeah, like quick to reveal details. Yeah, just like click to reveal details or click to read more, whatever the fuck. That could be really good, yeah. Consider lightweight dialogue additions for quest givers whose requirement you don't meet, so they can point you in another direction. Meaning they'll tell you which requirements you don't meet and suggest another quest or activity you could get on with in the meantime. This dialogue would have to have a diegetic sense, meaning dialogue more like perhaps you should chat to the cook in Lumbridge. He seems like he needs constant help, as opposed to go and do cook's assistance quest. This could actually be good. Just very lightweight guidance of what to do. But without it being like, oh, now you should go do this. Just be like, oh, I've heard the cook in Lumbridge needs help with his food or whatever, right? Just like mild lore that's like, that makes sense for the game. This I actually think is really cool. I like that a lot. Allow players to pin a quest for easy access rather than navigating through their quest tab to find it repeated. Dude, I have actually been wondering if they were gonna change that, because I find myself scrolling through my quest log so often. If we can make this work, allow the most recent notes in the quest journal for the pinned quest to be visible on screen as a lightweight quest tracker. Ooh! This could be kind of good, because I really had a big trouble with this. The hidden system already exists in the game. Okay, maybe I'm just not aware of it. Add a post-quest recap to their respective quest journals. This would detail a top-level overview of the story, notable characters you Yes! Yes! I would love this. Dude, the amount of times that I have been doing a quest and I want to know a certain NPC that I talked to in a quest, but I can't fucking find it because, like, they change some of the dialogue. Oh, this would be so good. I would love that. This would be amazing. Remove the strike through from completed quest entries and find a different way to display this information. I mean, you could still make it strike through, but you could just make it if you highlight your mouse over it, or if you click it, then it removes the strike through, right? But regardless, this I think would be really good. Personally, easy escape. I don't know, maybe my take is different than a lot of people's that are like very like veterans of this game, but honestly, I don't think there's anything wrong with having some things that are just making it more accessible for players to play the game and like having a few quality of life stuff. I think as long as it like stays true to what OSRS is and it makes sense in the world, and I think that'd be good. Jack XP reinventing Quest Helper. It's not Quest Helper. It's just making the the base quest log a lot more usable, I think. Quest Helper is the real easy escape, true. Add lightweight beginner-friendly how to train and quests that give skill sections in the in-game skill guides, accessed by clicking on any item in the skill tabs. I think this could be good, personally. Remove the inventory bank restrictions or claiming more runes and arrows from the magic and ranged tutors. We also consider bumping up the number of runes offered by the magic tutor, since you currently only get enough to kill a handful of cows. I didn't really interact with this at all, so I can't really speak much about that. Add a right-click bury option to drop bones to alleviate some friction for early game players. Prayer. We know that experienced players may never bury a bone, but the extra step of picking it up and then burying it needlessly friction for beginners. Oh, so like you can right-click a bone on the ground and you can bury it. Yeah? I mean, I think that'd be pretty good. Yeah. Use skill icons for the combat styles to indicate more clearly. Honestly, that would, I would kind of like that. Nah, bro. 8 frames. I think we just realized who's the freaking... Yeah, that's exactly you, dude. Easyscape. Easyscape game ruined. Okay, I can't even tell if you guys are freaking rage baiting me now, but... Add toggle tabs for the items you hover over. Oh, use skill icons for the combat styles to indicate more clearly which skill will be granted by XP. Add toggle stance tooltips for items that you hover over. Add for hover over or long press, since players often have difficulty understanding the stats from items, particularly things like negative bonuses for melee armor. I mean, I don't know. This one I don't really know. I'm not sure. I don't know if this would be as important as the other ones, right? This is Runelight at the moment for you? Yeah, probably. There's a whole lot of stuff listed here, and it's only the quick win. Some of these, particularly the quest or dialogue-related entries, are likely to be bigger projects. I also think the actual part with the with the tutorial island, like kind of guiding you a bit more, would be great, and also just giving players, whenever they reach the mainland, some sort of like a very slight guidance, just an NPC saying a dialogue or something that just guides you a little bit so you can get going, because you just need to get people going and then they're gonna keep playing, right? If anything is listing ringing alarms for you to make sure to let us know, and we can always reconsider it. You're all caught up. That's a full look at the short-term tech-focused changes we'd like to make so we have better improve the onboarding experience for new players. Like we've said throughout the blog, let us know your thoughts, comments, queries, or concerns in all the usual places. We'll make any adjustments feel necessary. Remember that this isn't everything we like to look at. Okay. Honestly, I think most of these things are really, really nice, actually. As a player that recently got into playing old school RuneScape, a lot of these things that they're considering doing is definitely something that would make it a lot more easy for me to kind of understand what's happening in the game without it being hand-holdly. I think the tutorial island changes are good. I don't think... Some of them are not as needed as others, of course, but some of them are big. Obviously, we went through all of it, so I'm not going to try to highlight all of it again, but... How much this is going to affect current players, this is just nice for beginners. Yeah, and the great thing is, as you just said, this won't affect people that already play this game and, like, you know, play it and, like, they know about RuneScape. It's just like, okay, you're a completely new player, you're trying to get into the game, it'll be a little bit easier for you to understand what's happening without it being like a theme park MMO where you just go to the different things, right? It's still a sandbox. It's just explaining to you very vaguely and how the sandbox works and what toys you can play with, you know? I think a lot of these things are really great, personally. Obviously, let me know what you guys think, but I think most of this is amazing. Yeah. This is really great. There's so many of these things that they're adding, or like not that they're adding, but they're talking about wanting to add that I kind of wished there was. It does affect veteran players. It makes it a more popular game, which means that their achievements have more value. Oh, holy shit! Let's go. I think this more players means better boss runs for me. Almost all of it sounded great to me. I think this sounds fantastic. Especially the part with the quests, the quest tab thing. That sounds so good to me. Oh my gosh. How would you feel if they add a tutorial island to quest list and the final step of the quest is to speak to Lumbridge Guide in Lumbridge? Since they will have already been clicking the yellow quest in the whole time, it'll be the first thing they do in Lumbridge. Something like that, where they do it organically, would feel good. Yeah, maybe the final part before you go to Lumbridge is like, oh, time to head to the mainland. Maybe you should speak to the Lumbridge Guide to get introduced to the town. I don't know, something like that, where it's like, that could maybe work, or maybe you don't need to do it that handholdly, but obviously they probably, Jagex probably knows how to integrate it more seamlessly than I do, but yeah, I think this could be really good. I think a lot of these things are really great. This is a kind of a gateway to, this is a, will these changes fuck up rune light settings? This is a gateway to fuck up the game. I don't think so. I think this is great, personally. I think this is a good way of doing it. Honestly, making Tutorial Island a quest helper quest would explain the function way better. Yeah, I really think turning Tutorial Island into like a little series of mini quests and introducing people to how that works would be so great. And then like all the little quality of life changes. This is fantastic, chat. I'll link it here if you guys want to read through the blog. Obviously, let me know what you guys think. If you like it, if you hate it, if there's something you think could be bad for the game or good. Please, like, let me know and let Jagex know, because that's the best way that they can really improve the game, you know?